I was a little bit late. My apologies. It's not that I hadn't been here before. I've been here a lot of times, but I had my wife and my kids with me and went to a playground and got stuck. The weather was good. Yeah, I'm so sorry. So I'm glad that you waited. My name is Sonderby Jepsen, and I'm here to talk about Roskilde Festival. I'm very honored to be a part of the workshop program, and I hope that you are all ready to ask some questions. I believe that this is a sharing of knowledge instead of me teaching you. So please, whenever you want to ask a question, raise your hand. And I think that's the way we should do it, instead of me talking all the time. And one thing else, when you raise your hands, I'd like to say what you're doing, just to get a little bit more personalized dialogue with you. That's easy for me to understand what kind of people who is attending this class. Okay, thanks. Well, to begin with, I would like to tell a short story of how I got involved in Roskilde Festival. I started as a volunteer for the festival in 2010, and I believe that a lot of people in here, and either you are or you have been volunteers as well, that in our organization, Roskilde Festival, we have a lot of volunteers. People, it's like actually really normal that people are volunteering, and then they in their real life have their normal job, which can be everything. We have 30,000 people volunteer for the festival. I will get back to that a little bit later on, how we get that organized. It's a humongous number. I was lucky that I worked in the music business already beforehand at a venue in Copenhagen, so it was pretty easy for me to combine my full-time job with being volunteer for the festival. But for other people in the organization who is one in the music committee group, one of my colleagues, he is a bank investment guy, and when he comes home, he put off his uniform and then he go out with me and do the electronic music for the festival. It's a kind of complicated thing. I think it's very difficult for him to tell about the job, what he's doing to his companies. He's a fellow at the bank system, and also the other way around. It's difficult for us doing music to understand how everything goes out in the finance world. But it's a kind of, I think that's a really good way of getting people involved in the festival, because people have so many different qualities, and because Roskilde Festival is like a big playground, they can try to use use what they are working with in the real life. In 2014, I started full time for Roskilde Festival. I have been 7 years at the music venue as a head of music booking. And I started there, and I've been, so it's my third season full-time hired, but it's my 8th, including the volunteer. And as like a regular guest, it's my 19th year in a row this year. And now about Roskilde Festival. Just, have anybody been there? Few ones, nice, good. So you probably can say aye to what I'm telling you now. I hope so. Does everybody have heard about Roskilde Festival? Is there anybody here who haven't heard? Just got here with their friends or something? You there? Nice. Great. That's awesome. I hope that you afterwards will get out and say, perfect. Thanks for joining. So, Roskilde Festival, a temporary city. That's what we call it. So Roskilde is a city 35 kilometers outside Copenhagen. You can, for the festival, we have our own train system go there from the main train station in Copenhagen. Everything from this main road, the big one here, and down here is the festival. The other part, most of it, is Roskilde city. It's a tiny, small city during the whole year, but during the festival, it will be the 4th biggest city in Denmark. The reason why we call it a temporary city is because we have 50,000 people camping for 8 days out here. This area all the way over here. This area up here is where the stages are. So that's a big society living outside the walls, and of course it takes a lot of resources for us to build up this kind of festival site. 1 month prior to the Roskilde Festival, there is an animal farm festival where farmers come and buy pigs and cows and look at the tractors and stuff like that. And then 1 month after, we have this festival. So just to give you an impression of that, it is a humongous work for us to build up the festival site. We have to put in all the electricity, all the trading zones, all the bars, all the toilets, etc., showers for 50,000 people, and grocery stores and etc. So we feel that we build up a city for 100,000 people in total. Yeah. Just if you have any questions, just raise your hands. Roskilde Festival is a creative and spiritualized space of freedom and huge community. It's very important for us that our audience take their time to get the right version of themselves and not always let the interwebs and the SoMe media platforms control them. We believe that is too easy, so you have to be on the field side, on the campsite, and meet your neighbors and speak to people that you have never talked to before, maybe on another language. That's in the old days, we were a lot of people coming outside Denmark. Now, because lots of countries have their own festival, and the financial stuff went on in 7 years ago, it's pretty tough to travel to Copenhagen and to Roskilde Festival. But we are trying to, we've been doing a lot of work in Sweden, Norway, and also in Germany. Last year we had I think it was 700 or 800 people paying for tickets for the festival from Germany, which are a really good number of guests for us. We have a PR company working here, but we know it is expensive. We try to challenge people in a good way. So for all the newbies, all the new people, the first timers on the Roskilde Festival, they can see how it is to get away from home, to stand there without their parents or their friends, speak to new people and get inspired by either newbies or people who have been here before. We have luckily a good story of when people have been there one time, they will come back, and hopefully that will continue on. A lot of our volunteer people have, as myself, been going there as a regular guest for many years before you got involved in the company. And that's also it is a really good story for us that people have been in the festival, because then they have some history knowledge with them, and it's good that they can share it with other people, especially the young ones who probably think they can leave the garbage all over, or they can start a fight and whatever. We don't have any fights at Roskilde Festival. We don't have any cops or police. This year was the only year because of all the terror thing. You know about that. So we had to. But all fights have been controlled by the audience by themselves, because it's all about not being violent to each other, but it's more about getting to know each other. So all the people who is taking care of it are volunteer, and they, instead of fighting them with violence, they speak to people if they are on drugs or have had too many drinks, etc. And we also believe, actually, this is the whole vision on the organization, but also in the music community, we also believe that that the way of our audience are controlling and taking care of each other, we also can get that in return from our artists' performance. I will talk about a little bit later about the DNA for the music community, but it's very important that the audience give the artist something back, not just standing and watching the show, but also being a part, interactive. We feel that on the stages, but in the whole festival campsite they feel it as well. A short keywords rundown for the festival, just to give you some numbers, and just ask if you have any questions about it. So it's the biggest festival in Northern Europe. It's an 8 days festival. We have 6 stages in the main days. We have 3 more stages in our warm-up period. The warm-up period is in the campsite, so the 6 main stages are only open for the last 4 days of the festival. The first 4 is only Scandinavian up-and-coming stuff. We have 180 artists from 32 countries, played in Roskilde 2017. I mean, it's a lot of countries. Our music program is pretty diverse. We try to get as many music genres and tendencies as possible. I will talk about that later, and we can discuss about it if hopefully you agree, but I'm always open-minded. Our daily capacity is 85,000. We have 80,000 full festival tickets, and then we sell 5,000 day tickets on top of that. 30,000 volunteers for the festival. As I told you a little bit earlier, it's a pretty heavy number. 10,000 of those are in our own company, is doing production, backstage areas, putting up fence, toilets, electricity, and then we have 20,000. Around 20,000 of those are from all the trading zones. So as I think a lot of festivals do that, they involve the locals, like a handball, football club, putting up a food trading zone, and then all the money they earn, they give it back to their company. It gives a really good dialogue with the locals, and they accept that Roskilde Festival will be there for so many days, and being probably a little bit annoying for the city, but they can take some money with them back to their company. And then we are 65 people full time hired for the festival, whole year round. Lots of those 65 person are working with lots of different stuff. We are, besides Roskilde Festival, which are like our main vein, then we have a rental company where we have 10 people hired who is renting out fences, toilet, Visa Dankort stuff, and then we have a pretty large administration who is taking care of all the money we earn. I will come back to that in a few minutes. Then we have to give it all to charity, and that's a humongous work behind that as well. Become the fourth biggest city, as I said earlier. Then we are 100% independent and has been non-profit organization since early 70s. And that, I mean, to be non-profit is always a pretty weird word, because it's to be understood very differently from company to company. It is very technical and very strategic, organized terms. But so that's why it's easier for me just to write this down where you can read, and then we can talk about it if you have any question about it. So every year the Roskilde Festival Charity Society organized Roskilde Festival with the purpose of generating funds to donate to humanitarian and cultural initiatives. The Roskilde Festival Charity Society is exempt from VAT and is therefore not allowed to use the profit for forthcoming festivals or for other investments. So the Roskilde Festival is a part of the Roskilde Charity Society. We also have the fund Roskilde Festival, where all the money we earn for the festival come in. It's mostly from all the beer we sell at the festival. And those money is in a regular company where we pay tax and VAT and everything. And that's actually our mothership. So when I'm doing Roskilde, I'm doing music booking for the festival, then I am hired in to do that. But instead of doing a contract on it, they hire people full time, because there's pretty much work behind it. In that way, if the Roskilde Festival one year, knock on wood, won't happen, because a bad ticket sale, a bad weather, etc., then we're not shut it down forever. Only maybe that year, 2 years we have bad years, but we have money in the other side of the company. It also means that every year when we start from a new festival, we have to go to the bank and rent money to do the festival, even though we earn around 20 million Danish crowns every year after the festival, because we have to give it to charity. You get it? Yeah, cool. Thanks. Since the beginning of the Roskilde Festival Charity Society, we have donated more than 3 million Danish crowns to charity. I'm not sure, is that around 30, 40 million euros, I guess? And this is the number of the last 5 editions for Roskilde Festival, what we have generated. This year we had 7.2. We had a bad weather situation, which where we spent a lot of money to cover that. But still, this means that actually 17 million Danish crowns, around 2.5 million euros, will be given out to donations. Yes. But let me see. Sorry. It's a big number, and I mean, in the early days, people could seek for get a donation. So if you have like a project, you can seek for the festival. It also meant that we had a lot of applications for the donations, and it was always like a bad story, because if you turned them down, they saw it really personal. So it actually became a bad story that people can apply for it. So now we have a board who is picking up stuff, and by our network, we find projects we want to support. Most of the money is given to humanitarian, refugees, and society stuff. Believe that's probably the main donation, the humongous. They need more money, and that's what we can do. In the smaller scale, you can support a lot of stuff, and we try to combine that with music and culture, underground stuff, smaller projects. Here in Germany, we supported Golden Pool in Hamburg, who burned down, unfortunately. We believe that venue is really important for not only the locals in Hamburg, but in the whole, also for us. We see it as a big inspiration venue. We supported the By the Lake Festival, which happened here. The first 2 years we supported it because we wanted the Danish and the German music industry to be closer and work more together. Here also in Hamburg, we had the Groove store, the Groove City, best vinyl store in Hamburg, I think. Supported them because they did some in-store events, and they just there. I mean, you probably know them, but Marci, who has the store, is like one of my favorite person in Hamburg. I mean, that's some of the smaller, and I mean, that is small donation, but it means a lot. It's also a symbol which they can use. We can't donate money. We can't give money to an artist, and then they come to play for free at Roskilde Festival. We can't use it to get it back. So when we give the money to somebody, we trust and believe that they will spend it on the right way. But we don't have any control on the money afterwards. We can give money to tendencies. Maybe one person in Denmark right now who's doing a lot of urban stuff. We think he's very important to keep on going. He's really bad to organize. He always owes money to, especially the government. So we help him up, like giving him some money so he could continue working with it. And now he's actually doing a company with one person full-time hired. Because I mean, lots of people working with the music and generally culture stuff is just doing it because they love working with it. And I mean, but when you're doing a company, you have to know about money stuff and how you pay your VAT and your tax. And luckily for him, we had a good dialogue about that. So he's still on track. Yeah. Is there any question about our donation non-profit policy? Nice. We will soon talk about the music program. But this is like, it's really fundamental for the whole thing. We have focus on environmental and cultural change. It's focus called based on equality. So we believe in people and humanity for the festival, that everyone has equal worth and the right to equal opportunities. This is why we for 2 years had a focus on equality, to understand and investigate equality, so we can inspire people to take a stand and commit to make a change. In 2016 we had a political equality, so we had the Superflex. I'm not sure if you know those, but some of them probably. Superflex is an art collective. We had built the VIP shelters for our mortise collectors. So when they went out and took up mortise, then they could sleep and get coffee for free in a tent. We had an opening concert with an orchestra from Syria, and we had an Edward Snowden talk directly with our audience. In the 17 this year, we had a cultural equality. It was much about sex and gender, ethnicity. It was both in our art and our music program. We had the Black Lives Matter talk, and we had the Princess Nokia doing a talk as well, besides her 2 shows. And next year we will have the economic equality. Working with change is split up in 2 parts, and I think that is very important. The festival is only 1 week during a whole year. It means that we have to get involved outside the festival also, the program, which includes the donations, which will be, as I talked about, for all the money we give to donations, we can see that growing and doing stuff outside the festival. And when we come to the festival, during the festival, then we will try to execute it. So people can see that what we have been doing all year round. For example, the political stuff, we did some small of those shelters for the mortise collectors in Copenhagen, in the city center as well, and then we moved it to the festival area. So outside the festival and during the festival, it's 2 totally completely different ways to handle the changes there. This here is the picture I showed you in the beginning. This is just like saying. It's just to tell you that, just so you can see the area and how we are building up the city of the Roskilde Festival. I'm not that tall, but that orange box up there, Countdown City, and then up is the area for stages. The rest is where the people are living. There's a fishing sea and there's like a swimming lake down there. The orange areas are service centers. We have up here, where it says entrance platform, 20 thing. It's a skate park area where we have around 100 people flying in from all over the world to do skate shows. It's a tiny part of the program, and it costs a lot of money, of course. But it's important for those 76,000 people who want to see that inline guy who is really cool. I don't know them, but I mean it looks awesome. Yeah. Yes. Alrighty. Is there any questions regarding the organization or something? No. Easy. So, the booking process. This is our poster from this year, and just to I mean, it's just very important for us to tell that we don't have any sponsors. We are 100% independent. That's why that the only logo is down here. It's a Tuborg, the local brand, and normally, they try to every year to get up in the top on the poster, but they won't, never. But they try, and of course they should. But I mean, it's split up in different font sizes. So in top is the headliners, the semi-headliners. Then we have the 50% names, and what's down here, which I don't think you can see, right? No. Oh, okay. It's more like the upcoming stuff in the prior days. We had the Odd Couple played that this year, for example, and Metichok, which are both. I'm not sure if Metichok is from Berlin though, but Odd Couple is. Is Metichok as well? You know? Okay. Okay.
How do you decide who is the headliners and who is in the middle?
How we do decide that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
like, why is Sonderby above the Jesus and Mary chain?
I mean,
how can you do that?
but I mean, how we can do that?
Yeah.
I mean, first we have to decide what we want to do by ourselves. The reason why Sonderby is up there is because he's from Denmark. So we need like one Danish person up there, and he's one.
The stages that they will do?
No. I mean, both Solans and Sonderby, they played our second biggest stage, same as the Jespen Chain, but Father Misty played on the biggest stage. I mean, in my personal perspective, I would love them all to be the same thing, because I believe that when you read a poster, you should read it from below and up, because the top artists are like the boring thing. You don't get inspired of it. I think you want to see the headliners, but the way you get inspired is from below. But it's always a discussion. It's always a discussion with, of course, the agents and the management.
Does some artists have like, we only come if you put us in the headline?
I think they have to begin with, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, we have 8,000 people applying for the festival, artists, and we only select 180. And out of the 180, lots of people doesn't. I mean, Foo Fighters, they didn't apply. But I mean, Stones did apply, and Paul McCartney did apply as well. So the headliners can apply, but normally it's a dialogue with the agent, and we find out, hey, we want them to play next year, and then they try to fit out the tour. Just to say that there's a lot of people who's applying for the festival. I mean, don't have that many slots. It's 180 is really few slots for like a festival of this size. So I mean, it's always. I mean, I think that the agents know that as well. I think for a lot of them, it is very important to play Roskilde. So I think they're pretty compromising with where they're putting on the poster.
How many stages do you run?
We have 6 stages in the main days, and then we have 3 stages prior to the main festival. I'll run through the stages in a few minutes, but I'm not sure if what do you want to hear? You want to hear about how we pick artists and what kind of music? Yeah.
How big is the booking team?
Yes, I'll talk about the booking team and how we. Yes, definitely, I'll do that. So we are 6 persons in the music committee. 4 of us is full-time hired, 2 volunteer. One is the one I told you about before, who is a bank investment guy, and the other one is working with music already. We are split it up, so everybody has the music genres to present to the music committee. Then we meet up one day every month and discuss names. And I mean, we can agree or we cannot agree. It's really good to discuss names because it also gives you another view of the artists that you want to have on the festival. So we not always agree, but in the end, we have to make sure that our program is very diverse. As I said before, we have artists from 32 countries all over the world. That means also that you will find artists here from places where you have never been. One person called Peter in the music committee, let's start with him, he's the funny guy. He's 65. He do all the world music. So he goes to festivals and areas which are like the most beautiful parts of the world to catch artists. And I think when he bring home, so he did Bombay Stereo for the first one in Scandinavian. When he brought them over, it was the first time in Europe, and a lot of the artists come to Scandinavian, probably Europe, but at least Scandinavian first time at Roskilde Festival, and from there they can go through Europe. But it might be also their only show, come there and go back. So they want to stay there for the whole festival. I mean, the major headliners, they have to go to other festivals, of course. But so it's really, I think Peter has the dream job because the artists are so happy when they play Roskilde Festival. Then we have Stefan, who is doing all our Scandinavian acts, so Denmark, Norway, Sweden, etc. Anders, who is our head of music, and me, we're doing rest of the world together. It's mostly UK and US. London is for us is the city where a lot of artists go through. But we are also, I mean, we try to do all bookings direct with the agents, which also means that we do deal with local agents. I think that's very important for us as well. That's why we are here at Pop-Kultur as well, to meet agents and managers and artists. The two volunteers, one is doing electronic and urban together with me, and the other one is doing indie and alternative rock music with me. So I have my specialty in indie, electronic and hip hop. Stefan, who is doing the Scandinavian, has in metal. And Anders, our head of music, he has like the major ones, which are not hip hop or electronic. So Foo Fighters is one of his, Arcade Fire is one of his. That's so it's actually it's and then we have like an agent relation because we only have one time of the year at the festival. Then we have to go out and talk to people a lot so they don't forget us, which means that we have to be like meeting up with the agents a lot of time during the year, during the festivals. While we are here, for example, it's very important to meet a lot of the agencies as well, who they might not be at Pop-Kultur, but we have to go and visit them just to get the new stuff. So sometimes it can be a little bit tough to only have a festival 8 days during a whole year, but we should never do promotion or anything else. We can't do that. Was that the question for about the music committee now? Yeah, we have one. Yeah.
I'd like to ask, you told that you got 8,000 applications of artists each year.
Yeah.
How do you manage? Like, I would assume that you don't, it's impossible to really check them all. Am I right with that?
Oh, we actually do. That's why we are 4 people full-time hired for doing a festival, 8 days during a whole year. I mean, we reply on every email. That's what takes time. But I mean, that's our CEO is that's what she believes in. That that's also when people are moving from company side, you also have to bring your network and get the full story with them. And we try not to. We try to reply on everything. And also magazines. And when we go to festivals, I mean, as I said before, we have to meet with lots of people because we want to. And I mean, the thing is that every act playing at Roskilde Festival, we see them live before we book them. I mean, that's one of our main things. It's important because that if an artist plays on the stage at Roskilde and the audience comes there, and the artist play like this, it gives like a little bit weird interactive to the audience. And then the audience will go out and probably not filled with love, but more like frustration. So we need to make sure they play good live. And that's a huge job for us because that means we travel a lot for all festivals, but it also means that we have some good people related in our network. We trust that. So I mean, a lot of the emails who comes is a regular thing. Hey, we are around in January. Can we play at Roskilde Festival? It's like, no, it's in June, July. I mean, that's some of the. I mean, all of you people who are doing festivals and shows. They know about those emails. They're quite funny, but it's also. I mean, it's difficult to reply on that one. So he'll probably just get an automatic reply. But when we meet up, one second. When we meet up in the music committee, I will have, for example, Father John Misty on my list and say I think it's the right time for him to play the Orange Days at Roskilde Festival. Then some of the other 5 persons can say, 2 of them can say that's a good idea. The other one can say no, it's too early, or no, he's just played Copenhagen 2 months ago, 2 times 2,000, 3,000 cap sold out in advance. Why should he play compared to another artist? And then we discuss about it. And then it could be info regarding that he will have a new record, or he just changed his whole band team, or he just got much stronger, or facts like that, where we can discuss about it. And then for him, he got on played Roskilde, but a lot of artists that we bring to the table either have to wait 1 year or 2 years, or they are totally ready. And sometimes you go home after one of those meetings and you say, fuck, I really want this artist to play Roskilde. I know it's the right, but then you also have to wait for next year and see if it's possible to you to bring it on. I mean, as you can see, the program is very diverse. So you can only do. You could easily put a festival only with indie music, only with electronic, only with urban music. That's too easy. I mean, it's 180 slots is. I mean, it's really low to represent all the kind of music. So we have to, in the final, we have to make sure that the program goes out in every direction and is being very, very diverse.
So if you want,
Okay, yeah.
if you want to like apply to play,
Yeah.
you have to, for example, I'm Norwegian, so I should contact your Scandinavian program. If the most people here are from Germany, who will you contact?
Every apply goes into our regular info mail.
Okay, and then you divide it.
Yeah, because there's only 8,000 to the music committee, but for the whole company, I don't know, they'll get a lot of emails regarding, I lost my jacket or something, I don't know, something. They probably have some questions. So there's 2 persons there who is putting emails to the right person.
Oh, okay.
So if you wrote that you were from Norwegian, you will come into my colleague's inbox, Stefan, and then he will get back to you. Yeah, that's how it works. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, hi, I'm Laura. I'm organizing a punk festival for up-and-coming artists in Berlin in October.
Yeah.
It's kind of do you have a backup pool? And
If they cancel?
Yeah, if they cancel. So do you have a backup pool? Do people know they're in the backup pool, or how does it work? It's not
I mean, it's if we know they're gonna cancel 2 months before the festival, it's pretty easy to find a new one. Before I was a part of the team, I know that Manu Chao was invited every year to the festival and walked around as regular guests, and then jumped on board if there was a cancellation. That's quite funny. Now it's more difficult, of course, to find. I mean, for the smaller acts, you can probably do a replacement, but I mean, we had a Tribe Called Quest was supposed to play this year, but Q-Chip got an operation in his shoulder and he couldn't do it. We knew that 2 months prior to the show, so it was pretty easy for us to get Ice Cube playing instead of. But if it's like 1 day before on the same show day, it's really Little Uzi Vert couldn't play, and we knew that 2 days before he was show, so he's still on here somewhere, and he got replaced by Playboy Cardi. And I mean, it's good to have a one-to-one change. It's difficult, but it's definitely the best thing to have, because the audience won't get that mad. But it's still very difficult, especially for us with the audience of 100,000, 30,000 people, to tell it. They get the push notes and they get it on the screens and stuff like that. But there'll be a lot of people who, I mean, you start at Roskilde when you are 16 or something. So I mean, the thing you want to do at the festival for the first time is just, to do beer and drugs and meet boys and girls. So you know that you have to go see that concert. That's what you have in your calendar, and that's all. So I mean, it's always a little bit disappointment. But luckily we are lots of festival around us as well, which we are working together with. So if we have a cancellation, we talk to each other. Yeah. I think it wasn't you?
Ja,
Ja.
jeg har fået svar på mit spørgsmål.
Du har fået svar? Dane, perfect. Yeah. Yes.
Hi, so then are there certain festivals that you go to in order to like scout other acts that you, because you said you like to see them live, I guess. So
Yeah.
are there certain places that you go to
Yeah.
research?
I mean, Peter's doing the world. He's going to festivals that you want to go to, but I mean, it wouldn't make sense. But any like a beach thing he's going to is beautiful places. But I mean, there's like a big festivals like South by is one of our big festivals that we go to every year. We have done a lot of exchange with those guys as well. Some of the people from our organization have been there, and the other way around. It's of course it's late for our festival to be at that festival, because we have to put out our full program in the beginning of April, and this festival is in the middle of March. But we always get like 7-8 acts with us home to finalize the program. So it's a good festival. Otherwise, it's very difficult which festivals that we go to, because it's split up in the music genres. But I mean, CMJ, who was there previously, who is not there anymore, but the new festival Mondo is a good one. Pop-Kultur here, of course. Liverpool Psych Festival. We have the Primavera, Sonar, Great Escape, Eurosonic. I think Ligazu is a small festival in Utrecht. So if any one of you like indie music, you should definitely check out Ligazu. It's a great festival. And Utrecht is a beautiful city as well. Yeah.
When do you start with the booking for the next year?
So we actually already started. We also had offers for 19 and 20 as well. We haven't got confirmed yet though. But it's a funny thing about that the artists want some of the offers in that. I think they go out fishing and see which festival could be interesting to have us playing. So for next year we are like probably 15 to 20 names we are already. But I mean, a lot of the smaller names is, as I said before, we have to go and catch it live, so we can have an idea of that artist is really good, because the record is good, or the review have been really good, or our network says this artist should definitely check it out. Then we can come and see the show, and then it might be not for us. We don't do any DJs either, so I mean it's pretty difficult to do the electronic booking for the festival as I do, and not doing DJs. It's always hard to tell the agents that we don't do DJs, but we still want electronic music, EDM and stuff like that. Yeah.
Who belongs to your network in Berlin?
Who belongs to my network?
In Berlin.
In Berlin. Oh. I'm not sure I should tell you that. I'm not sure. You can find out later on when I get some beers. See who I stick to. I'm pretty sure a lot of the people will come today at the opening for Pop-Kultur. I mean, since Berlin is very close to Denmark, so we have a lot of people here. I do believe a lot of the agents here are some of my closest as well. So you can probably figure out some of the small indie companies. Last one, then I'm going to tell you a little bit about the status, as I promised.
Do you happen to know one of the world music festivals that your colleague goes to? You know them by name?
I know some of them, yeah. I know you talk a lot about the Mama festival. I think it's happening in Marseille or something. I'm not sure. The Mama festival is really beautiful. North American Folk Festival, I know he goes to that one as well. What else? We just went to China to a festival. I can't remember what that was called.
Sound of the City.
What's that?
No, Sound of the City.
Sound of the City, yeah. You mentioned that? Oh, okay, perfect. Thank you. What else? In February, there's one in an old castle at the Zanzibar. I can't remember what that name is. Oh, what's that?
I think Womack all the time.
Is that what it's called?
Womack travel.
Yeah, Womack, yeah. Womack is one in October, yeah. But the one at Zanzibar, I can't remember, was El Baba or something. I can find that out. I'll find that out. But it's just like, I mean, it's just, I mean, I love being in Berlin, but I mean, Zanzibar is like crazy. Okay. Six stages. I'll just run them through, and I mean, this is the orange stage, our iconic stage, our difficult stage as well. The stages go like this, which means that the clearance is only 4 meters. And I mean, when artists like Foo Fighters come with that production team, they want like that high stage. So it's always difficult to tell them that it's very important they can be in that stage because it's our iconic stage and blah, 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 blah. We do a lot of time talking to the artists about that. We totally understand them, but we can't change the logo. And we can't change the stage because that's our old DNA. It's 60,000, and we have 15 artists playing there. Arena is our second. That's an indoor tent. You can also stand outside. So inside is 17,000, but outside in total it can be 35. Avalon is actually our. It's one of the newest rebuilt stages. So it's more like the people who do the production at this stage, they all come from a theater. So they build it up as a theater. There's like a red carpet up there. And it's really beautiful. A lot of the artists who plays in I know world is like a weird music genre, but they come a lot of people on stage, so that's why they fit here. And it's really intimate because the theater draped. So they are normally they used to play here. We don't have that's important as well. None of the stages are like music genre specifics. I will show that later on, but we have all genre mixed on every stage because you want people to move around. I think it also gives you gives the audience the opportunity to meet new people, and I mean just not standing on the same spot. Apollo started in 2013. 5,000 cap outdoor stage. 5,000 is the inside the where the sound is good. There could be 30,000 around. That stage is the only stage which are like a little bit specific genre-wise, but it's very wide as well. It's electronic and urban music, which are like nowadays really wide. Pavilion stage is our small indie. There's a lot of indie music going on here. World music as well. There's 2,028 artists play here. Gloria, it's in a barn. As I said before, then the area is where Roskilde Festival is happening. Is we rented for 1 month, and there's this animal farm festival before. And the rest of the year, then the government use it for training dogs for the police, and people are running around it. So it's like a big green area, like a big park. But there are some barns where animals are, and one of the barns we have them better to the states called Gloria, which are like small states, 1,000 cap. Really beautiful setting. Then we have, so those were the 6 main stages I just went through. Then we have the 3 stages which are like happening in our upcoming days. So the warm-up period of Roskilde, and it's not there, it's removed during the main days. One of it is a rising stage. That's mostly the rock, the metal, the folk, the indie stuff from Scandinavia. And Countdown is the electronic and the urban stuff. So it's actually split up a little bit those days. The stages are like really close to each other, so you can walk around, and it's time scheduled, so you can go and see shows. And then we have like lots of other stuff going on around the big lake. Before there's a lot of yoga classes and stuff like that. But we also have inspired from Burning Man. We have like a dream city where 2,300 people living 3 months before to the festival. Building it up, doing like small, this year they built up a post office, so people from home could send them letters. So every morning they stood up and said, now there's like a letter to Jonas. And then they go to a grocery store and they could share things to get stuff. Don't know if anybody have been to Burning Man here, or if you have heard about, you heard about it. But it's all about the training. And actually it worked out well, and I think, me personally, I think that it's a very interesting thing to be a part of. That you're not paying to be a part of something, but you have to share something to be a part. So this stage, East stage, is like the stage we had this year, because as I said before, we don't do any DJs, but we know that in the music culture there's lots of collectives. And it's very difficult for a collective to play because they are like 25 people in a collective maybe. So this stage this year was for collectives. So we have like 12 hours every day, split it up in 2 parts. So one collective could have like 6 hours, and then they could present whatever they want. Everything from talks to performances to poets. And here again, this is the area. I mean, going from Avalon up there over to Arena takes you around 20 minutes. So it's pretty easy to go around in the festival side to catch all the shows. Because as this program you see here is from the first day. So if you want to see some urban stuff, you'll probably want to see Trans Casino on Apollo. And you want to come and see, Solans, Bryson Tiller. You want to see Jan 9 as well. So we have to organize it that way that people can go around like that, so they come to every stage. I mean, there will always be people who wanted to see Tim Darcy and Nicolas Jarre. I mean, it's difficult to get everybody happy, but at least the guy who wanted to see Nicolas Jarre, he can see the XX before that as well. So I mean, that's how we try to do it. I believe that's most of it. Yeah, I believe that's most of it.
How many percent of the artists get paid to play, or how many volunteer?
Of the artists, every artist got paid.
All of them?
All of them, yeah.
Even on the campus?
Even on the campuses, yeah.
Oh.
And we have like a policy in Denmark. It's like, I don't know if it's the same here, but in Denmark it's like 2,000 Danish crowns. You have to get paid. Tarif, yeah. So that's what we do. We all get paid, yeah. Our music budget is around 60 million Danish crowns.
60?
60 million Danish crowns, yeah. It's not a lot. We have to fight.
One band takes 6%.
A lot of them takes, yeah, but even though it's some of the artists who comes like 20 people from South Africa.
Yeah.
It's pretty expensive too.
And
that's
then
probably
they get transport also?
We always get a flat fee. So they have to include transport, dinner, hotels and where they want to stay by themselves. We can provide them with tents, and we also have a few areas where they can stay at the festival. But I mean, it's because it's on a green field and the city is so small. Then the hotel is totally overbooked. But they can stay in Copenhagen. But for the artists who come from some of the countries where it might be their only job, we at least want them to make a zero out of it. We don't want anybody to lose money in playing Roskilde. Yeah.
So if you were like an up-and-coming artist and you think most of the song here, what would you recommend your steps? What would you recommend that you do, like approach more agents or videos? I don't know. What do you think would be your next step?
I mean, if you're playing some of the festivals who fit into you, and you play the shows really good. I mean, I'm pretty sure that people from here, how many here are from other festivals? Is anybody in here who's from other festivals?
That was Laura.
Laura, okay. So,
Sorry.
the only one. You as well, yeah. And I'm pretty sure that, yeah, I know you have as well, but going to a concert where you'll be like 5 or 10 people standing there. I saw a show with the Body last year playing in Roskilde doing Pop-Kultur. And we were like 10, 20 people or something. But they were like awesome. And I booked them like 2 days afterwards. And I mean, if they had played bad, I mean, that might been their chance to play Roskilde. I mean, they could probably have played another festival where I've seen them as well. But I'm pretty sure that you have to deliver. I mean, it's the same as when you go to South by and you play like 10 shows in a row. It's difficult for you, but you have to, because there could be the right person standing at the 10th show that you're playing at.
Yeah, I think in the past I was always just trying to fly, right away.
I mean, it's always good to come to Denmark to play, or at least play during some of, like, for example, Pop-Kultur or
I have a question to the ticket system.
Yeah.
Do you have your own ticket system or?
We do not know.
Okay.
We work together. I think it's Ticketmaster.
Right.
Or Billetlugen, I think.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
With Ticketmaster or?
I think it's called Billetlugen.
Okay.
A Danish company who probably work together with Ticketmaster.
Okay. And what do you think about Live Nation?
What's that?
What do you think about Live Nation?
What we think about Live Nation?
Yeah.
I mean, I have a good relationship with Live Nation.
Okay.
I mean, most of the acts we do directly with agents. Some of the artists we have to do it with bigger companies because they had doing the tour for the artist, which are fitting into Roskilde Festival. That's it's not only Live Nation. There's lots of promoters, but you have to work together with them. It's weird because we are independent, and all the money we earn, we give it to charity. So compared to a lot of other companies, I think we are pretty much the only one doing that, and that way, of course. Our CEO doesn't have like a big car and an airplane or something like that, which he could have if we put all the money back. So I mean, what do you think about Live Nation? I mean, they're doing what they're doing. Yeah. I mean, they do what they do, and they earn the money, and then hopefully they spend it. I think, fine. In the end, it's just important for me that all the small venues and all the small artists will have a platform in 5 or 10 years. I think that's where we stand now. That's what we are facing. It's tough to be a small venue, 200 cap. I know in London they are shutting down 20 or 35 venues last year, all with a capacity under 300. I know in Denmark we are also shutting small venues down. People want to buy tickets, they want to spare up money and go to a Frank Ocean show where the tickets are like pretty expensive instead of going to 10 smaller acts. I think that's. I'm not sure if it's the same here in Berlin, but I saw some posters around the town, and they are doing posters for bigger shows than I think did for 5 years ago. That I think is a big problem. If you're going to buy big arenas and fill it up with artists instead of remembering where the small artists started. They started all in a small place. Yeah.
What's your approximate ratio regarding male and female artists on stage?
Yes. It's been a really interesting subject this year. I mean, we do music programming out from artists who fit into the program. We don't look at it as if it's female or not female. I think what we do is that we, I mean, in my perspective, especially for the urban stuff, I can see it's a really interesting development that a lot of females are being more and more, it's being more represented on that music genre stage. Solange, of course, but also British Nokia is a really strong one there. Madame Gandhi, who's the drummer from MIA, is also a really strong one. And I believe lots of females are being inspired of that, and then you can see now lots of females are coming out in that music genre, which used to be 100% dominated by men. And I think that's really interesting. And we are trying to reach out for that one by representing and giving a platform for example, both Madame Gandhi and British Nokia did a talk about future feminism at the festival this year. And that's what we can do extra. I mean, we don't gonna do 50-50% because that will mean that we have to say no to some artists which would fit the program because the music-wise would fit better. But we have always had a lot of females playing at the festival. I hope that there'll be more. And I'm pretty sure in 5 years a lot of the headliners will be more and more equal. But I think it's difficult to force it. Because I think you have to book the music which fitting to your festival. Does it make sense?
Yes, I'm just wondering whether there's a big difference between guys that do this music or girls doing that music.
I think in metal and punk, there are lots of men playing that music genre. Pop, R&B, there's more girls. But now, I think now you also have lots of people, guys doing R&B and soul, but you also have girls like Priests playing punk. So I think that it's going to be switched a little bit around. And I think in the next few years, if there'll be a platform for those small acts to perform at. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how it will develop. And also that a show of 45 minutes, is that enough? I'm not sure. I think you probably have to do something more. You have to combine it with a talk, or you have to I don't know, keep free beers, as lots of people do already. But I mean, I think you have to be more, find some new ways of promoting yourself at doing the show. Like stage diving is a common thing, but I mean, could there be anything else that you could do on stage, which could be special? I could tell about which kind of act you are. I think that the energy you have on stage is really important, especially for us, because our audience needs to feel that you want to play on stage, and you don't play that because of the money or something else. Is there anybody else? Yeah.
What makes a good live show, if you consider band music?
A good live show. I think that that you have to. So there's two ways to think. I think if you as an artist go on stage, and when you go off stage, you have to. The first thing you have to talk about is that the audience were amazing, instead of which mistakes you did by yourself. I think that's where you can get. You play your music. I think probably do some fuck ups. It doesn't matter, as long as nobody. I can do this speak without, preparing anything, but you don't know what I'm talking about. I can do my own agenda. I think that you do the same as an artist. I think you should just play your music and do some mistakes. It doesn't matter. I think go off stage and the audience went mad. That's what it's about. Or they were happy, or they were positive. I think when an audience go home from the stage, I think the most beautiful thing is that if they got touched about the concert. Some of them, most of the audience probably come to see the few hits that you want to play. But I mean, a lot of the audience also come to hopefully, as I said before, see a new energy, the new way of doing music. That's why I got touched about seeing Show Me the Body, because he was playing the banjo and did like a punk thing going on, and it was a little bit weird, but I just loved it. I mean, if he had played like a regular guitar, I mean, I'm not sure what I would have been touched in the same way. Norwegian singer called Sigrid was playing this year as well. She's just like, her music is kind of similar to Lord and Halsey and like all the other girls on that stage now, but she is like an entertainer on stage. The way she moves around, the way she controls the stage, makes you as a observer pretty sure that she will go far because she has the energy of it.
Who's that?
Secret.
Like
And
the animal?
What's that?
Zebra?
That's Secret.
It's a name.
Secret. Sigrid. Secret.
The second row from the bottom.
Oh yeah.
In the third.
Where is
in the
it?
middle. And then
She's there.
yeah.
Besides Show Me the Body and Svin. Svin is a Danish punk act, and the English is pig. Pretty crazy.
So how does she control the stage? I'm curious.
I mean, you should just go and see the Jimmy Fallon show. I mean, you will see it right away. It's like, it's crazy. It's hard to explain, but it's just like, just like she's been on the stage for the last. You have her at Southborough, right? Yeah, I mean, I think I saw her as well. It's like, it's crazy. It's like, I think she's 19 or 20 or something, comes from a little bit city up north, side Bergen or something. I mean, she haven't played that much. So that was, and she also has an agent, which is like a really good guy. And I mean, that also means a lot, that you have a good agent who is there for the music and for your own best, and not about the money and the commercial stuff. around. We will be happy to see you. Do you have any other last questions? Otherwise, I will say thank you very much for stopping by.
Thank you.